The war ended. At least that's what the world was told. In 1945, as cities turned into ruins and silence replaced the sound of bombs, people believed that one of the darkest chapters in human history had finally come to an end. But history doesn't work like that, because while the world was celebrating peace, something else was already happening in the shadows. Something quiet, something calculated, something hidden. Many assume that the scientists, officers, and individuals behind those horrific experiments had simply vanished, that justice had been served, that the nightmare was over. But the truth is far more unsettling. Instead of being erased, many of them were taken, protected, and in some cases, rewarded. Programs like what would later become known as Operation Paperclip quietly relocated scientists from one side of the war to the other. Their knowledge was considered too valuable to be destroyed, too dangerous to be ignored, and too useful to let go. Think about that for a moment. The same minds that once operated in secrecy, conducted experiments, and crossed every moral boundary imaginable were suddenly working under new flags, new identities, new purposes, and the world moved on, or at least it tried to, because the truth is, history is not just written by the winners, it's rewritten by them. Files disappeared, documents were classified, stories were buried under layers of bureaucracy and silence, not because they were unimportant, but because they were too important, too dangerous to be fully exposed. Over the decades, fragments of these stories began to surface, declassified documents, hidden testimonies, forgotten records, each one revealing just a small piece of something much bigger, a pattern, a continuation, because the end of the war didn't end the ambition. It didn't end the desire for control. It didn't end the pursuit of knowledge, no matter the cost. It simply changed its form, from battlefields to laboratories, from soldiers to scientists, from visible destruction to invisible consequences. And maybe that's what makes it even more disturbing, because when something is hidden, it doesn't disappear, it evolves. And even today, there are questions that remain unanswered, experiments that were never fully explained, files that are still locked away, truths that were never meant to be public. So the real question is not what happened back then, but rather what continued after everything was supposed to end, because history is not just about the past. It's about the things that were never allowed to be forgotten, and the things that were never allowed to be known. And sometimes, the most dangerous stories are the ones that feel unfinished. This is one of them. If you made it this far, you already know that this story is bigger than it seems. So tell me, do you think everything was truly revealed, or are we still only seeing a small part of the truth? Because if there's one thing history has taught us, it's that silence usually hides something, and this silence might still be hiding more than we can imagine.